What if I was to tell you I know how to get you into the Disney college program? Yep. I know what you're thinking. Why listen to me? Psh, I wouldn't. Well, I've been rejected and accepted into the Disney college program. And after looking at both application processes, I have noticed some key differences between the two. So let's get started. Numero uno, be prepared. I know this one kind of goes without saying, but I don't mean be underprepared, and I definitely do not mean be overprepared. This was a mistake that I made the very first time that I applied, and I eat, sleep, and breathe Disney for about 2 whole weeks. And let me tell you, that was one of the biggest mistakes that I could have made. I'm not telling you to not do any research. Do research, but don't go crazy. If you look this video up, that should be enough. Well, I guess you could watch a couple more, but that's it. Don't overload yourself. Don't go crazy. This can be very bad because you're not really yourself anymore. If you are overloading on information on how you think that you should be to apply for this program, you kind of lose sight of who you are. Which brings us to number 2, be yourself. I know, who else are you gonna be? Mickey Mouse? But what I'm saying is stay true to who you are. I know looking up so much information can be very overwhelming, but always remember at the end of the day, this is your application process, your journey. So be confident in who you are and remember that throughout the whole process. Make sure whenever you're doing your interviews that you show your personality. This is really important because when you're having your phone interview, the interviewers want to see who you are as a person, not who you feel like you need to be to get accepted. The very first time I applied, I focused too much on what I was saying and the content of my answers instead of how I was saying it and how I was delivering it. The second time I applied, that's more of what I focused on. Staying true to myself, showing the interviewer who I was, making them laugh, making them cry, and really giving them a taste of me. That is the best thing that you can do to set yourself apart because they interview hundreds and thousands of kids every single day. But if you really show them who you are, that is one of the best things you can do. Number 3, be smart. So this one is kind of the most important for the web-based interview, which is the first part of the interview process that you'll do when you're applying. So basically, you're asked a whole bunch of different personality questions. Be smart when you're answering the questions. You'll get questions like, I like to work with others. I like going to work. I hate going to work. I love meeting new people. I like getting up in the morning. So for questions like that, be honest. But I mean, come on, you kind of know what Disney wants to hear. I'm not saying lie by any means. Don't lie. But you know what Disney is expecting from its employees. And maybe you don't like working with others that much, or you don't like doing repeated tasks over and over that much. But I mean, you kind of know what Disney is looking for. So if you know you're not a certain way, maybe make that change when you get there, because if you lie and you don't make that change, you will be miserable your entire program. I promise you that. Which brings us on to number 4. Be versatile. This is important throughout the entire application process, starting with the general application, where you're asked to list your interest in all of the different roles that they have. And they have about 26. So from quick service food and beverage to custodial to floral to transportation, you are asked to list your interests in each role. My advice is to show some interest in at least half of them. If you only list maybe one or two that you have interest in, you are shrinking your percentage of getting into the program. Disney is looking for very versatile people that don't mind doing anything. They select your role based on your interest, which they do take into consideration, but also based on need and where they need people. So that's why it's very important for you to be open to at least more than half of the different roles that they have there. So it's very important for you to keep an open mind and to be open for anything, because you never know where you'll end up. Throughout the application process and the program itself, it's very important to keep an open mind and to be open for anything. I ended up not getting one of my top roles at all, but you know what? I came to realize that just getting accepted into the program was an accomplishment in itself. And with any role that I have, it's really what you make of it. So that's why it's very important to keep an open mind. Also, in your phone interview, they'll ask you a lot of questions, like if you're okay working in the heat or working in the cold, working with others, working by yourself. That's why it's very important to be versatile and say maybe you don't like working with others and you prefer working by yourself. Well, be honest and tell them that, but also say that you're open to working with others. So that way they see, hey, this kid is really open for anything, which is very important. Okay, this last one is one of the most important ones that I guarantee will get you accepted into the Disney College program. So listen up. Number 5, don't give up. I promise, if this is the only step that you follow, you'll find yourself getting accepted into the Disney College program. I mean, if I had given up, I wouldn't be going to Disney World in 2 months. If you don't get accepted your first couple of times, that's okay. Maybe it just wasn't your time. I didn't get accepted until the second time that I applied. And honestly, I was nowhere near ready the very first time that I applied. This time, I was so much more wise, or at least I like to think I was, and also more ready to go on the program. I know people that get in their very first time applying, and I know others that, didn't get in until their second, maybe third, or even fourth time applying. But they didn't give up. And look, they got accepted. I promise that this step will guarantee acceptance into the program. And if it doesn't, and you applied every single semester in school, maybe look back on each of your application processes and honestly ask yourself, did you follow each one of these 5 steps? And if you did, and you still didn't get in, maybe it just wasn't meant to be. I think that's something that's very important to keep in mind during this whole application process. You'll end up where you're meant to be. But always remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. So my question for all of you DCP alum out there, do you agree or disagree with these top 5 ways that you can get accepted into the Disney College program? And do you maybe have some others that you know that will guarantee your acceptance? And my question for those of you applying for the program or have applied, did this help you? Please post all your answers, comments, and questions in the comments down below. Thanks for keeping up with me, and subscribe.